The hallway at Westbrook High was its usual Monday morning mess. Slamming lockers, loud chatter, and teachers trying unsuccessfully to get students to clear the walkways. I stood at my locker, pretending to look for a book I didn't even need. My real focus was on the boy just a few feet away. Somehow, I stumbled a few steps forward, straight into Ethan's line of sight. He looked up from his locker, and when our eyes met, my stomach did a full gymnastics routine. "Oh, hey," he said, smiling in that easy, heart-melting way of his. "Mason, right? We're in English together." "Uh, yeah, that's me, Mason." "English," I managed to say, feeling like an absolute idiot. Ethan chuckled softly, shutting his locker and leaning casually against it. "What's up? Need help with something?" I opened my mouth, but for a moment, no sound came out. My brain felt like it had been replaced with static. "I just wanted to say hi." I finally blurted out. "Hi," Ethan said, his smile widening. He didn't seem annoyed or weirded out. In fact, he looked amused. For a moment, I thought maybe I could actually get through this without embarrassing myself. But then he tilted his head, giving me this curious, soft look that made my heart do backflips. "By the way, you're really good at drawing." I blinked. "What?" "Your sketches," he said. "I saw them in your notebook the other day when you left it open in class. They're amazing." He'd noticed my sketches? I felt my face go hot. "You really think so?" "Yeah, absolutely," Ethan said, his voice sincere. "Do you just draw for fun? Or are you thinking about doing something with it?" I mean, I'm thinking about studying art in college," I said, my words coming out faster than I intended. "You should," he said, his tone full of encouragement. "Seriously, you've got talent." I stared at him, unsure if this was real life or some bizarre dream. Then, as if things couldn't get any more surreal, Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "Here," he said, holding it out to me. "Let me give you my number. I've been thinking about getting a drawing done for my sister's birthday. Maybe you could help me out?" My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone as we exchanged numbers. When it was done, Ethan tucked his phone back into his pocket and smiled at me one last time. "Cool. I'll text you later. See you in class, Mason." And just like that, he walked off, leaving me standing in the hallway like a statue. Later that night, after a long day at school, I finally got home. I dumped my backpack on the floor and flopped onto my bed. The day had been a blur, but one thing stuck in my mind: Ethan, and the fact that he'd actually noticed my drawings. Before I even realized it, I found myself pulling up Instagram on my phone, my heart racing as I scrolled through Ethan's profile. I probably looked like a total stalker, but he had these amazing photos of his artwork and his family. He posted a ton of pictures of his sister, and I could tell she was super important to him. His life seemed so perfect. I clicked on his story to see if he'd posted anything recently. There was a picture of him and his sister laughing, and I felt my stomach flip. He was so effortlessly cool. But then, just as I was about to put my phone down, a text came through. From Ethan. "Ethan, hey, Mason. Just wanted to remind you about the party tomorrow. It'd be great to see you there. No pressure, though." I almost dropped my phone. My heart skipped a beat. He wanted me to come? Me, of course. I'm definitely coming. I wouldn't miss it for anything. I paused for a moment, my fingers hovering over the screen. Then, I added, "Me, can't wait to see you again." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. My fingers were shaking from excitement, but I couldn't help it. The thought of being at the same party as Ethan? I was practically buzzing with anticipation. As soon as I sent the text, I jumped up, pacing around my room. I couldn't just show up in my usual hoodie and jeans. I needed to look good. This was Ethan's party. I quickly dialed Emily's number. The phone barely rang before she picked up. "Mason, it's not even 5 minutes, and you're already texting me. What happened?" she asked, sounding amused. "You're not going to believe this," I said, almost too excited to speak. "Ethan invited me to his sister's party tomorrow." She gasped. "No way. Ethan Carter? The Ethan you've been crushing on for how long?" "Yes, that Ethan," I said, practically bouncing off the walls. "He actually wants me to come. I need an outfit. Help me. You called the right person, she said with a laugh. We're going shopping, buddy. Don't worry. You're going to look so good. Ethan won't be able to resist you. I laughed, feeling my nerves melt away. Thanks, Emily. I'm trusting you on this one. The next afternoon, Emily picked me up at my house. Her car, a beat-up old Honda Civic, was parked outside with the windows down and the music blasting. She was already wearing her signature, "I'm going to make you look amazing" grin. You ready, Mason? She asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I wasn't sure if I was ready for this, but I nodded anyway. Yeah, let's do it. As we drove to the mall, I couldn't stop fidgeting in my seat. My nerves had only gotten worse since this morning. The thought of seeing Ethan again was like a weight on my chest. What if I messed things up? What if I wasn't good enough? What if this whole thing was just a stupid crush, and I was getting my hopes up for nothing? Emily glanced at me and then back at the road. You've got to stop stressing. You'll look great. Trust me. Ethan is going to see you and be like, "Who's that?" I forced a laugh. I just don't know if this is a good idea. I mean, what if I mess things up? What if I don't know what to say? Or worse, what if I don't like him the way I think I do? Emily turned the music down, her smile fading into a look of understanding. Mason, I get it. It's a big deal. But that's the thing. You don't have to figure everything out right now. Just take it one step at a time. Go to the party. Have fun. Let things unfold. But don't shut it all down before it even starts. I stared out the window as we pulled into the mall parking lot, my heart still pounding. Emily parked and jumped out of the car before I could even say anything. Come on, let's go get you an outfit. We spent the next couple of hours wandering around stores like H&M, Urban Outfitters, and Zara. Emily picked out a few shirts, some jeans, and even a jacket that she swore would make me look effortlessly cool. But no matter what she put on the fitting room, I just didn't feel right. Nothing felt like it was me. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this, I mumbled, standing in front of the mirror in a shirt I knew I wasn't going to wear. I just don't know how to do this. Emily raised an eyebrow. Mason, stop it. You're doing fine. But let's talk about what's really bothering you. I can see it on your face. I blinked, not even realizing how obvious it was. I rubbed my face, feeling the weight of everything that had been building up. I don't know if I really like him. I mean, Ethan's awesome, but what if it's just this stupid idea I have in my head? What if I'm just so caught up in the idea of him? But when it actually comes down to it, I won't feel anything. Or worse, what if I do like him, and he doesn't feel the same way? I felt the tears welling up in my eyes. It was like everything I had been bottling up all afternoon was finally spilling over. I'm so scared, Emily, I whispered, my voice shaking. I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to look like a fool. Emily looked at me for a long moment before walking over and pulling me into a hug. You won't mess it up, she said softly. You're being honest with yourself, and that's what matters. I know it's terrifying, but you can't let fear control everything. If you like him, then go for it. It's not about the perfect moment. It's about being real with him. And yourself. I felt the tightness in my chest start to loosen, just a little. Emily had this way of knowing exactly what I needed to hear. Okay, I said, finally wiping my eyes. Okay, let's finish shopping. I'll find something that feels like me. Now that's the spirit, Emily said with a grin, pushing me toward another rack of shirts. After a few more rounds of trying on outfits, I finally found something that felt right. A dark blue button-up shirt, slim fit but not tight, paired with a simple black jacket. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't feel like I was pretending to be someone else. I actually liked the way I looked. Perfect, Emily said, her face lighting up. You look amazing, Mason. Ethan's gonna lose his mind. Thanks, Em, I said, the weight on my shoulders feeling a little lighter. I'm still scared, but I feel better about this now. She handed me the clothes to pay for, and as we walked toward the register, I felt a little more ready to face whatever the night would bring. Because, for the first time in a while, I wasn't overthinking every little thing. I was just going to take things one step at a time. The next evening, Emily pulled up to my house, right on time as always. She honked twice, and I grabbed the small gift bag I'd spent hours working on. my nerves doing somersaults. Inside the bag was a frame drawing. I'd sketched the night before, a portrait of Ethan and his sister based on a photo I'd seen on his Instagram. Emily had insisted I bring something personal, and while the idea made me nervous, I couldn't deny it felt meaningful. Sliding into the passenger seat of her car, I let out a long sigh. Okay, I'm freaking out. Yeah, no kidding, Emily said, raising an eyebrow as she pulled out of my driveway. You look like you're about to throw up. Relax, Mason. It's just a party. It's not just a party, I said, gripping the handles of the gift bag. It's Ethan's party. His family is going to be there. And he is going to be there. Emily rolled her eyes. Mason, you've already talked to him. He likes you, or he wouldn't have invited you. I shook my head, staring at the bag in my lap. What if I say the wrong thing? Or worse, what if I freeze up and can't say anything at all? Emily sighed, turning down the music. Okay, let's break this down. First of all, breathe. You're overthinking this way too much. All you have to do is be yourself. That's easy for you to say, I muttered. You're not the one trying to impress your crush. Fair, but listen, compliments are your best friend. Start with something simple like, hey, you look great tonight, or this party is awesome. Your family seems so cool. Everyone loves to hear that kind of stuff. I nodded slowly, trying to commit her advice to memory. Okay, compliments. Got it. And don't forget to ask questions, she added, tapping her fingers on the steering wheel. People love talking about themselves. Ask him about his art, his sister, whatever feels natural. Right? I said, exhaling a shaky breath. Compliments and questions. I think I can handle that. Emily glanced at me with a smirk. And if you're feeling bold, throw in a little flirting. Something cheesy but cute, like, that shirt really brings out your eyes. Flirting? I groaned. Emily, I'm terrible at flirting. I'll just embarrass myself. No, you won't, she said firmly. You're overthinking again. Look, Ethan already likes you. He complimented your art. He gave you his number. And now he's inviting you to a family party. He's not doing all that just to be nice, Mason. Her words hung in the air as I stared out the window. She made it sound so simple, but my doubts were hard to shake. What if I'd misread everything? What if I was just a friend to him? Look, Emily said, her tone softening. You're not going to know how he feels unless you take a chance. And tonight's your chance. Just be yourself. You've got this. As we pulled into Ethan's driveway, my stomach did a nervous flip. The driveway was packed with cars, and the glow of string lights spilled out from the backyard. Music and laughter filled the air, and for a moment, I felt like turning around and running back home. Emily parked and turned to me with a knowing smile. All right, Mason, this is it. Take a deep breath, walk in there, and just be you. And hey, give his sister the gift. She's going to love it, and it'll give you a reason to start talking to Ethan. I nodded, clutching the gift bag like a lifeline. Thanks, Em, for everything. She reached over and gave my shoulder a reassuring squeeze. Go get your guy, Mason. With one last deep breath, I stepped out of the car and walked toward the front door, ready to face whatever the night had in store. As I stepped through the front door, the hum of conversation and the bass of the music hit me all at once. The house was packed with people, most of them gathered in the living room and spilling into the kitchen. String lights were strung across the ceiling, casting a warm glow over the scene. It was lively but cozy, and I could already tell Ethan's family knew how to throw a great party. I clutched the gift bag tighter and scanned the room, my heart pounding. And then I saw him. Ethan was leaning against the kitchen counter, laughing at something someone had just said. He looked effortless in a light gray Henley and a pair of dark jeans that fit him way too well. His hair was slightly messy, the way I liked it, and his dimples showed every time he smiled. Before I could chicken out, I made my way toward him, weaving through the crowd. Hey, Mason. I turned to see a girl who looked just like Ethan, except with longer hair and a sparkly dress. It had to be his sister. Hi, I said, fumbling to hand her the gift bag. I made this for you. Happy birthday. She took the bag, her face lighting up. Oh my gosh, is this the drawing Ethan told me about? He wouldn't stop talking about how talented you are. I blinked. Ethan told her about my art? Why, yeah. It's a sketch of you too from one of your Instagram photos. I stammered. I hope you like it. She pulled out the framed drawing, her eyes widening. This is amazing. Wow, thank you so much. Ethan was right. You're crazy talented. Before I could respond, Ethan appeared at her side, his grin as bright as ever. Told you he was awesome, he said, nudging her playfully. I could feel my face heating up as Ethan turned to me. Hey, Mason, glad you made it. Yeah, wouldn't miss it, I managed, my heart doing flips at how good he looked up close. Ethan smiled, his eyes locking with mine for a moment longer than necessary. Come on, let's get you a drink or something. You've got to meet some people. He grabbed my arm gently, guiding me toward the kitchen. His touch sent a spark through me, and I barely registered what was happening as he introduced me to a few of his friends. I found myself on the back porch, leaning against the railing and staring out at the yard. The fairy lights strung along the fence twinkled softly, and the noise from the party inside felt distant, like background music to my swirling thoughts. I still couldn't believe Ethan had invited me here, not just to his sister's party, but into his world. Every interaction we'd had tonight, the casual touches on my arm, the way he smiled when he introduced me to his friends, felt like something out of a dream. Hey, his voice broke through my thoughts, and I turned to see Ethan stepping onto the porch, holding 2 cups of soda. He handed one to me, his smile easy and familiar. Thanks, I said, taking the cup and trying not to stare too hard at the way. The moonlight caught the soft edges of his face. I saw you sneak out here, he said, leaning against the railing beside me. Needed a breather? Yeah, I admitted. Big crowds aren't really my thing. Same, he said, taking a sip of his drink. I mean, I love seeing everyone have fun, but sometimes it's nice to just escape. We stood in comfortable silence for a moment, the quiet of the night wrapping around us like a blanket. You've been amazing tonight, Ethan said suddenly, turning to face me. My sister loved your drawing, by the way. She's already talking about where she's going to hang it. I felt my face heat up. I'm glad she liked it. I was so nervous giving it to her. You shouldn't have been, he said, his voice gentle. You're so talented, Mason. You don't give yourself enough credit. I glanced down at my cup, my heart pounding. I don't know. It's just hard to see myself the way other people do, I guess. Well, I see you, he said softly. I looked up, and our eyes met. There was something in the way he was looking at me, like I wasn't just some guy from his art class, but someone who mattered. Ethan, I started, but before I could finish, he stepped closer. You don't have to say anything, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Just let me do this. And then he kissed me. His lips were warm and soft, and for a second, my brain went blank. Then instinct took over, and I kissed him back, my hands finding their way to his shoulders. The world seemed to shrink until it was just the two of us, the quiet hum of the night and the faint scent of cologne and soda in the air. When we finally pulled back, he smiled, his forehead resting against mine. So, he said, his voice teasing but filled with warmth, does this mean I'm your boyfriend? I couldn't help but laugh, my chest feeling light for the first time all night. I mean, if you want to be. Oh, I definitely want to be, he said, his smile widening before he kissed me again.